well, you have been flint knapping from the age of 10, I think it was, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Um, and I mean, how does one get into that?
I mean, I've always been interested in making things, and you know, I guess like most young kids, you know, the chance to knock a few nails in a piece of wood with supervision, you know, that's most kids really, and liking Lego and that sort of thing. And then going into primary school, again, like most kids, being sort of caught up with the Egyptians and Greeks and Romans and that sort of thing. Um, and my parents signed me up to the local Young Archaeologist Club in Cambridge. And they used to do holidays quite a few years ago where you'd go to different parts of the UK that would focus on a certain either time period or a type of archaeology. And there were ones to Nottingham where you looked at a medieval cemetery. There was one on Hadrian's Wall where you lived like a Roman soldier and visited a lot of the sites along there. And there was one in Cornwall, which was very prehistory focused. But you also did a lot of experimental archaeology, more experiential archaeology, but having to go flint knapping, bronze casting, bone working, and just seeing all of these amazing prehistoric sites on the various different moors. And going there, that was my first actual interaction with someone flint knapping. And being from North Hertfordshire originally, and that's where I am now, we get a lot of flint around here, huge amounts of it just in the fields. And it was something that I saw that I could easily potentially do at home. And I say easily in inverted commas because it is not easy.
No.
But you don't need any specialist equipment. You just need the flint and some pebbles and you know, just a pair of gloves and goggles really for that to put in that safety disclaimer
Yeah.
subtly there.
Oh yeah,
But
I'm sure you were being so safe when you were like 10, 11.
oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, and just tried it and found that it was really, really difficult, but managed to get some really rubbishy, to call them flakes would be generous. But I carried on for some reason, and then had to start scouring the nearby fields for more flint. And then when that resource started to run dry, I had to start looking in local chalk pits, and then that upgraded to actual working quarries to get large amounts of big pieces of flint. And my dad helped set me up a website, Ancient Craft, around, I think I was about 16. It wasn't a sort of commercial venture. It was just to show my interest and the sorts of things I did. But I started to get emails from museums saying, could you make us this? Could you come and demonstrate some flint knapping? And I started to become more known within the local museums. And it was a case of, well, you know, 16-year-old, there's a bit of a pocket money opportunity here for something I enjoy. So started to provide displays and make those replicas and became more and more well known. And then over the years, did my GCSE archaeology in secondary school and did my A-level archaeology in year 9, which was stressful at times, but you know, it really helped later. And then obviously went to University Southampton to do archaeology. But having that background in flint knapping and that interest was great, because my interview to actually go into the department, they took all the students and you sat down with a member of staff and they put an object in front of you and said, can you describe this as an archaeologist might? And I think some students had some pieces of bone, some had pots, and different objects. My interviewer put a flint hand axe in front of me and asked me to describe it. He wasn't really expecting to be told how it was made, what it was for, how old it was, probably where in the world it might have come from, and how much it had been used. And by the end of the interview, it was a case of, well, if you'd like to come here, here's your ticket to come in. And that would be the end of the interview. And I was like, oh, okay.
Excellent.
So yeah, and just carried on, running Ancient Craft, doing more and more, and starting to go into the media side of it, working with TV crews for documentaries, either behind the camera or in front of it, working with different kids' books, British Museum, doing displays, making replicas there, Stonehenge. It's just, yeah, it's a really long list. So it's keeping me very, very busy.